Welcome to the first ever All Things Hoops podcast. I'm Al, as always, joined by Luke.
So today we will be discussing recent NBA and NCAA tournament news, and later on in the podcast we have a special guest from the Cascade Cougars, Reid Rausch. So let's get to the NBA news here.
The biggest piece of news from the NBA is Russell Westbrook's 20-20-20, 20 points, 20 rebounds, 20 assists.
Insane stat line.
That's just incredible. He's the first player since Wilt Chamberlain to do that 50 years ago. First player in 50 years to do that.
There's only ever been two other players to do it. Him and
Wilt.
Yeah.
Wilt being one of the greatest players of all time. And after the game, Russell Westbrook dedicates this game to Nipsey Hussle, his close friend ever since high school. They grew up in the same neighborhood, and this is just a really important game to Russ.
I don't know much about Nipsey Hussle, but apparently he played a big part in Russ's life. So it's pretty cool for us to do that.
Oh, definitely. Where does this rank for you in Russell Westbrook's top games, per se?
I say this is one of his top 3 games of all time he's ever played. I mean, 20-20-20. That's not something you see every day.
Right. The only game I think
every 10 years.
The only game I really think is better than this one is when he got his 42nd triple-double 2 seasons ago. He had that insane 3-point buzzer beater.
Winners, the Nuggets.
He had 50-point triple-double to break Oscar Robertson's record for most triple-doubles in a season. I say that's the only game, to me, that's more impressive than this one, but this definitely too for me.
So is it crazy, though, that Russ, he could average a triple-double for 3 seasons in a row and not be in the MVP conversation?
I think it's crazy because that's the main argument for the reason he won MVP 2 seasons ago, because he averaged a triple-double, right?
He's done the past 2 seasons.
But last year, he averaged triple-double, wasn't very much in the conversation. This year, he's going on to have 3 straight years of triple-double, not even in the conversation, not even top 5 for anyone. No. I don't get how that can be, because if he does it 1 year,
what he won the MVP
he's praised for it, he gets MVP, but he does it 3 straight years, gets no credit for it. I just think people are too used to it and not appreciating how much talent
he's making
that
history.
It is. It's history. That never before seen stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so on to the next. LeBron James, for the first time in 15 years, misses the playoffs. This year, LeBron, he's only played 55 games. What's your take on this?
But I think LeBron did all he could, honestly, in my opinion. Yeah. I think LeBron did as much as he could, even missing 22 games for him.
He had that injury.
He did as much as he could. I don't think even playing those 22 games, I still don't think that the Lakers would be in the playoffs. They're almost 8-9 games back from the 8 seed.
It would have been close though, because he did miss. How many games did he miss? He missed 22 games. I mean, if they're only 8-9, you say they won half of them.
Right. Without LeBron, the Lakers were 7-15. Say they pull out, they're gonna have to win 8 of those games and turn it around to 15-7. Then they're in the race still.
Yeah.
Then LeBron's not sitting.
Yeah.
And he's playing off this injury, supposedly. That's what his trainer's saying. Then he's going into the playoffs injured. That's not a good look for the Lakers either.
No, because they're going off. It's the West. I mean, look at the West. Look at the teams you have.
This is probably the best thing for the Lakers. You can rest LeBron. He can get back healthy. They're not going to have to worry about making a playoff push. They can rebuild, regroup after the season.
Focus on the draft.
Focus on themselves. Focus on the draft. And
focus
work
on next
again.
year.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so the 2019 playoffs this year are the first playoffs in NBA history without LeBron, Michael Jordan, Kobe, Kareem, or Bill Russell. And the playoffs began back in 1947.
Going back to LeBron missing the playoffs, it's going to be an unreal playoff. I mean, it's the first time without seeing these five great players. Like, what's the new person going to be? Who's going to be the 6th person on this list, do you think, that is going to be appearing in the playoffs, you know? Who do you think is going to be the 6th person to carry on this legacy?
Kevin Durant.
You think Kevin Durant's going to be the next person on this list that will...
Yep. I mean, he'll make the playoffs so many years, but he may have that 1 year in his career where he just won't.
Right.
Maybe he'll leave the Warriors, go to some team, not make them. I don't know.
Right.
Anything could happen.
So also in league news, Yusuf Nurkic had a devastating leg injury, had a compound fracture to his leg, out for the rest of the season. What are your thoughts on the Trailblazers without Nurkic?
I don't know. I really think it's going to hurt him, especially in the playoffs. I mean, this year, Nurkic, he was averaging a career high in points, assists, rebounds, free throw percentage, and field goal percentage.
Right. This is definitely going to hurt the Trailblazers come playoff time.
Yep.
They're without their star big man. I mean, well, they can't do what they're doing with C.J. McCollum still partially injured. He'll just come back for the playoffs, but you really need Nurkic on the court for the Trailblazers.
You may not have heard a lot about him, but I mean, he's a big part of this Trailblazers
Definitely,
team.
he's the reason that they are sitting in the 4 seed.
Yeah.
It's because of Yusuf Nurkic. Right now, they're matched up against the Jazz, and without Nurkic,
I don't see anybody, especially with Gobert on the Jazz.
I don't see the Trailblazers pulling it out against the Jazz.
Not at all. Okay, so in the NBA, there was 2 jerseys who recently have been retired. It's Chris Bosh and Manu Ginobili. Chris Bosh for the Heat, and obviously Ginobili for the Spurs.
Yeah, both these are very well deserved because they're just great players,
Yep.
great teams. Both competed against each other, actually. They both brought multiple championships to their organizations, and definitely well deserved.
Ginobili's a 2-time All-Star, 2-time NBA, two-time All-NBA, and a 4-time champ, while Bosh on the other side is a 6-time All-Star and a 2-time champ. Well deserved to both.
So I'm just throwing this out there. Who do you think had the better run on these teams, per se?
I have to say Ginobili. I mean, it's the legendary Spurs. He played under Popovich. He had 4 championships. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I'd have to agree with you. I think Ginobili and the Spurs just edge out the Heat, in my opinion, during that decade.
And especially since those 2 played versus each other in the finals.
Multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, they each won some, but in my opinion, just the Spurs and Ginobili are better.
So some drama in the NBA. Lonzo Ball and BBB, Big Baller Brand, are going to part ways after co-owner reported to be stealing $1.5 million from the company. What are your thoughts on Lonzo leaving
It's
Big
about
Baller
time.
Brand?
I mean, it's
Really?
Yeah.
You think it's about time?
Yeah, I mean, it's time. He had to make a change.
So did you think that this would come? Did you think Lonzo
Yeah.
would leave BBB
Yes,
eventually?
I did. I mean, you have to move on to bigger and better.
I didn't see this coming. I thought Lonzo was going to turn BBB into its own franchise. LaMelo was going to get to the league, and then there's going to be their own powerhouse of a company.
You got to think about that. That could not happen for another 5-10 years until they make it big with BBB.
Right, but there's rumors that Lonzo's going to Nike.
I mean, if he goes to Nike, I think that's the best move for his career.
I agree with you. There's going to be less distraction
Yep.
Following BBB, and especially with his father and a major part of the company.
It's just being Nike, though. Nike's the NBA.
Right. I thought it was kind of funny. If you've ever seen Lonzo Ball play, you see he has to cover up his tattoo.
Yes.
He has a BBB tattoo. And the NBA makes him cover it up because you can't brand on yourself or
Yep.
anything.
Anything that's not associated with the NBA.
Right. And he just got it covered up by a pair of dice.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've seen that picture, you'd know that those dice look pretty bad.
They do. Oh, no. Okay, so Devin Booker has been lighting it up in the NBA, scoring 50 points in back-to-back games, and in his third game scoring 48 points.
Right. Devin Booker is just unreal at scoring. I don't know how he does it. Like, he just somehow just pulls out these incredible games. Like, what I believe it was 2 seasons ago, he had that 70-point
Versus
game.
Celtics. But you got to think about this, though. You're in all 3 of these games, and especially that 70-point game, they lost.
That's just unreal to me. I
They
think
did not win.
Devin Booker's got to get out.
He does.
He
I mean,
can't-
it's
he
hurting
can't
his
stay.
career at this point because you have the Suns team. They're too young. They don't understand what it's like to be in the league.
Right. And Devin Booker earlier this season said how he wanted to build a team around him in Phoenix. I just don't see the Phoenix organization doing that. It's going to take multiple years, and I don't want to see Devin Booker's talent go to waste.
Yeah.
I want him to go somewhere where they can
Winning
utilize
championship.
his potential and use him as a scorer he is.
All right, I know. Okay, so the standings in the NBA, they're pretty close right now, especially the East. So in the East, you have the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th seed, which are all within 1 game.
Right. You have the Pistons, the Nets, and the Heat. I think the way
And the Magic, don't forget about the Magic.
the Magic are at the 9 seed. They definitely are in there. I think the Nets will make a really interesting run in the playoffs. I definitely have them going to be locking up either the 6 or the 7 seed.
I mean, D'Angelo Russell, though, he's playing the best basketball of his career right now.
I can't wait to see the Nets come playoff time. They're going to be matched up against either the Raptors, Sixers, possibly the Bucks. I think that's going to be a really interesting matchup, especially with how well the Nets have been playing and their chemistry. You watch their team; they celebrate on the bench. It's just entertaining to watch. It's fun to watch.
They support each other.
They have chemistry, and that's something I think that a lot of teams are missing, especially the 76ers team. They have all the assets.
They have 3-4 star
They
players.
have all the assets, but they just don't. They
can't
don't
play together.
seem to click together.
Because they have to. Each one of those stars, they have to have the ball.
in their hand. That's the thing about this young Nets team. They share the ball. They don't care who scores. They just want to score. So I think that the Nets are going to surprise a lot of people come playoff time.
Okay, what about the Heat and Magic? They're both sitting at 38 wins. Who makes it?
See, I have the Magic here because Nikola Vucevic, he's an all-star this year, and Aaron Gordon, both big men on their team. I think they're going to pull it out in these last 4 or 5 games of the season, edge over just above the Heat, only half a game behind the Heat. The Heat...
I would love to see the Heat make it. I mean, it's D-Wade's last year. I'd love to see him have a playoff run.
The Heat just haven't been playing well, though.
No, they haven't, but somehow they're still in it.
Okay, what about over on the West side of things? You see, also you got the 7 and 8 seed, Spurs and Thunder,
Both
are
at 40.
tied.
Yep.
So, who would you like to see in the 8 seed facing the Warriors first round?
I want to see the Thunder in the 8th seed. I want to see a rematch in the playoffs of obviously the Thunder and the Warriors.
Do you think the Thunder have a chance at beating the Warriors? Do you think they can take it?
I think they do,
multiple
actually.
games?
Because Russ, I feel like just because Russ knows what at stake here. He's playing KD, playing the Warriors. He's just going to bring a whole different game. I mean,
I'd like to see the Thunder at maybe a 7 seed or a higher seed, and then reach the Warriors in maybe Western Conference Finals, quarterfinals, or something. Give it more of a more important game type feel. First round, it's not really as big of a deal, even though it is still a rivalry. But usually a 1 versus 8 seed not as entertaining, say, as a Western Conference Final.
Okay, who do you think will surprise you in the West this year in the playoffs?
Definitely the Clippers.
Okay.
The Clippers are going to surprise a lot of people this year. They have surprised a lot of people this year.
I saw they were projected to only win 33 games, and they have won 47 so far.
Even without Tobias Harris getting traded through a season and Boban, they're still playing excellent. I mean, you got Patrick Beverly and
Lou Will.
They're balling out. I mean, there's not much more to say. The Clippers team is the best team in LA by far, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pull off a few upsets come playoff time.
The only team right now in the West I do see almost dethroning the Warriors would be the Nuggets.
Definitely. The Nuggets are a fantastic team.
Jamal Murray.
I love the Nuggets.
Nuggets
I love the
are
Nuggets
so
team.
fun to
Jamal
watch.
Murray. You got Gary Harris. You got
Jokic.
It's just a nice team to watch. They're young. They
move the ball. They know what they're doing.
Communicate with each other. It's just fundamental good basketball. You got Coach Mike Malone. It's just great organization.
Yep.
I'd like to see the Nuggets actually face the Warriors as well.
That would be good. Now on to NCAA news here. We have 4 teams remaining. We have Virginia and Auburn and Michigan State and Texas Tech. Who do you have coming out on top?
I have Michigan State coming on top, just beating the best team in the tournament, Duke. Great defense, great coach. They're going to win it all.
Okay. Now let's talk about more of that Duke elimination game here. Did you expect them to lose, or what were you thinking?
I didn't expect them to lose. They're definitely, to me, the most talented team, but I'm not surprised.
Okay.
Because watching their last 2 games in the tournament and watching them all season long, they're just close games. They just couldn't pull out those close games, those tight games. Right. They should be blowing everybody out. Even when it comes to the tournament, the last 2 games against UCF, they should have just blown them out. I don't think it should have been even as close.
Won by what? 1, 2 points?
Yeah, and off 2 missed layups from UCF.
That should have gone in.
Definitely.
Okay, so
more about that Duke eliminations losses. I heard that Zion was pretty upset with that loss, and sources are saying he might stay for sophomore year. I'm not saying it's true, but that's just what I heard.
Personally, I would love to see him stay for a sophomore year and win the NCAA championship.
If he could convince like RJ and Cam Reddish,
if he can get the squad back,
Jones to stay, that'd be incredible. To watch him 1 more year,
would this hurt his draft?
Oh, I don't think so. If he's projected to go number 1 now, I think another season in the NCAA would even better his rank. I mean, he can't go higher than 1, but like he'd be even that much better of a prospect.
Okay. So another big team that lost was North Carolina. They lost in a Sweet 16, shocker, to Auburn. What are your thoughts about that?
See, I actually had UNC North Carolina. I had them winning the whole thing.
Yep, so did I.
Going against Duke, I thought it was going to be a close game and UNC would pull it out because Duke can't very finish as well in games. But, I did not see Auburn coming out on top of UNC. That's a complete shocker to me.
They beat them by almost 20 points, too.
That's just unreal to me. Also from North Carolina.
One of the star players.
Nasir Little is declaring for the draft. He'll be a great pickup for
almost any team
that wants
probably.
him.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can't wait to watch him continue his career in the NBA.
That'd be good.
For Texas Tech and Auburn, this is their first Final Four appearances ever. Team
you
history.
love to see that.
Yeah, you definitely love to see that. You love to see the 5 seeds in the Final Four.
You like seeing the upsets, but not when it's
You love seeing the teams that, they've never been there. Texas Tech, Auburn, never been to the Final Four before. That'd be a matchup to see. Auburn versus Texas Tech in the championship game. That would be one to see.
Okay, so Carson Edwards on Purdue. He scored 42 points in a loss to Virginia. That was one of the best games I've watched in a while.
Oh, definitely.
He was getting every
Carson
shot
Edwards,
to fall.
He's the first player since Stephen Curry to score 25 points per game in 4 straight tournament games. That dates all the way back to 2008. I know it doesn't seem that long ago, but 10 years ago, 25 points per game in 4 straight tournament games. 42 in a loss against Virginia. And Purdue would have won that game if it not had been for a buzzer beater, floater type shot. That's just, I wish I would have liked to see Purdue in the Final Four as well. That'd just be a little bit better.
He was getting every shot to fall. But from what I saw this step back 3 and he banked it in.
Oh, definitely.
You're having one of those nights.
The basket was 10 feet wide for him.
You're one of those nights. Do you think he will declare for the draft? What are your thoughts?
I definitely think he will, especially after that tournament run he had, 25 points per game in 4 straight.
He's definitely put a lot of teams on notice here.
Definitely a lot of teams are going to be like, oh, who's this guy?
Yep.
He can really score the ball. We need him on our team. We don't want him. We don't want to face him, so we're going to have him on our team. Time for the quick hits of the day. 45 seconds per topic.
Here we go. So, what pick will Ja Morant be? He had a triple-double in his first NCAA tournament game.
I think Ja Morant will be second pick.
Behind Zion?
Yeah, right behind Zion.
Okay.
He'll be second pick. He's averaging 24 and a half points a game, 10 assists per game, shooting around 50% from the field and 36% from 3. Those are good numbers. Any NBA team would be lucky to have him. I think that he'll be second. What do you think?
I'm for sure top 3. I don't know about number 2. I don't know. Maybe RJ Barrett goes number 2 and he falls number 3. I don't know, but he had a career. He averaged a double-double for the 18-19 season here. So
next topic would be Devin Booker's performance. I was just thinking about this. Do you think someone can break Kobe's record of 81 points in a game?
I don't know. It's 81 points. I just don't see anybody come close. Devin Booker, though, he is the most. I think he would be the best option to break it.
Definitely. He scored 70 points 2 seasons ago. That's just why I thought of it. He has the highest scoring game in the league currently. Yep. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts of whether he could break it or not.
Okay, so something else here. Do you have a most unbreakable record?
Well, I think that Wilt's 100 points a game will definitely be the most unbreakable record.
Okay. For me, I have to say it's out. Derrick Rose won the MVP award at age 22.
I think that could be easily done. I think definitely by some great draft pick, especially I think the one and done rule is going to go away. Okay. So I think that high school players are going to come back into the draft. They'll be eligible
a lot younger in the league.
There will be 18-year-olds coming. A lot more 18-year-olds coming to the league. That will give them 3 years to be 21. 3 years in the league before they can win MVP for that.
I don't know. It's just the fact that he's 22 years old.
I just think the 100-point game by Will never be broken ever. That's gonna be the record till the end of times.
Okay. So, who is your MVP? Obviously the top 2 are Giannis and Harden.
My MVP is Giannis. I love Giannis, and he's led his team to a 57-20 record. That's incredible. The Bucks
But he's in the East.
Great team. But you say that they're in the East, but a lot of people don't know that this record is the best in the NBA. Not only is it the best in the East, the 57-20 record, that is the best record in the NBA. So therefore, Giannis is my MVP.
I'm going the opposite. I'm going Harden. Just because Harden this year is averaging almost 37 points per game, 7.5 assists. He's shooting about 45%. I know. And the Rockets are sitting third in the West right now. So to me, that's Harden takes it.
All right, that's all we have for that topic. Moving on, we're going to move to our hot takes. So I'll let Luke start with his hot take.
So my hot take is if the Warriors and Thunder do play in the first round, the Thunder will upset the Warriors and dethrone them.
That's very bold.
Yeah, it's a hot
Because
take.
I don't see anyone coming close to the Warriors. I'm a Thunder fan myself. I'd love to see the Thunder pull it out against the Warriors, big rivals. But if I'm going to be honest, I don't see anyone beating the Warriors this year.
I mean, I think they will. I mean, I think Russ coming off of that 2020 game, and it started the playoffs. I feel like Russ is going to be on a whole other level than everybody else in the court.
Going back to what we talked about just a few minutes ago, with Paul George being on the Thunder, was he ever in your MVP talks?
No.
No.
Nope. Okay, because he got hot, I should say. Hot for about 10 games.
But isn't that what James Harden did?
No, he's been hot all year.
James Harden did not start the season hot.
He's been hot for more
James
than
Harden started
half the
the
year.
first 20, 30 games average. He was just an average player.
He has 10, 11, 50-point games.
Not until after 30 games in did he start turning up the heat.
You did Paul George.
Exactly, but you're talking about a player getting hot. I'm talking about Harden getting hot. It's just he got hot for a little bit longer. So
Paul George, though, since the All-Star break, he's just not been himself. He has been scoring the 30, 40 points a game like he was. Okay, what is your hot take?
My hot take is that the East will be more entertaining in the playoffs than the West this year because of the Bucks, the Raptors, Sixers, Celtics, Pacers, Pistons, Nets, possibly the Heat or the Magic. For the first time in a while, I think that the East playoffs will be
better than the West.
Definitely be interesting, more interesting than the West.
Okay. I do, especially the Bucks, especially these top 3 teams in the East. You have the Bucks, Raptors, and 76ers.
Because I think that's going to be more interesting to me is because you don't know who's going to win between those 3.
Oh my God, it's up for grabs.
The Bucks have the best record, but they only have 3 more wins than the Raptors.
Yep.
The Raptors only have 5 more wins than the 76ers. So I mean, really, the East is up for grabs. While
all 3 of these teams, they have lost and beat each other this year.
Right.
That's the thing.
I think it's going to be more interesting because in the West, you have the Warriors, you have the Nuggets. Those teams are definitely going to be the 2 best teams in the playoffs. You have the Rockets, but they only have two stars on their team. Clint Capella's not a star yet. They're not going to make it far in the playoffs, I don't think. Trailblazers just lost in Nurkic. Jazz, they'll be an interesting team. Clippers, Spurs, Thunder, just not ready. They're not ready to make a playoff push, championship push. East, I can't wait.
What about the Celtics? How far do you have them going?
Celtics matched up against the Pacers first round currently if the playoffs started. I think they can pull one out against the Pacers because they have home court advantage and Pacers don't have Victor Oladipo, although playing very well without him.
Yeah.
I see the Celtics pulling out and then they're not gonna make it out of the second round.
I don't know. I do see the Celtics going kind of far in the playoffs here, especially with Kyrie. I'm a big fan of Kyrie, and he's been there before. He knows what it takes. I think he's going to teach these young players what they
I think it's a little late though. I think it's too late for Kyrie to teach them. He's got 4 games until the playoffs actually start. I don't think it's just going to be able to switch in their minds, these young guys, like it does with some of these stars.
You also have veteran Al Horford, though.
He hasn't been producing much this year. I mean, he plays well.
He's there to teach, though. I mean, you got to think, though. He's maybe not there to drop 20 points per game.
Right, but I just think it's too late in the season to teach. They're going to have to teach over the course of the season. I think he kind of realized too late what it took to teach these young guys.
Okay.
So I think it's too late for the Celtics.
Okay. But who do you have coming out in the East?
I have the Bucks coming out of the East.
Okay.
Even though it's going to be very interesting, I have the Bucks coming out of the East.
Okay.
One more quick hot take, I guess. Where do you have Kawhi Leonard going this free agency?
Ooh, okay.
You know, people kind of forgot about him being a rental, as everyone was saying in the
he's
league.
a free agent.
It was going to be a 1-year deal for the Raptors. I think it was a great deal for the Raptors.
Yeah.
They're number 2 seed. They're only 3 wins behind the best record in the NBA. There's 3 wins down from the best record in the NBA.
Okay.
I think it's a good trade for Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors.
I feel like Kawhi, he wants to be on his own team. He wants to be the superstar of his team.
See, that's why I think he's a good fit for the Raptors, because he is the star.
Yeah.
Even though they got Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, but it's Leonard's team now, and they're built around him. So I think, in my opinion, don't be surprised if he stays. I think Kawhi Leonard's staying in Toronto.
Yep, or he's going to some team that doesn't already have a superstar.
Name a team. Pick a hot take. Who do you think he's going to?
Maybe a New York team, because maybe especially the Knicks. Knicks don't have a superstar like him.
The thing is, a lot of people have been saying the Knicks for Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Do you think that if one of those 2 big names sign there, do you think Kawhi Leonard's going to go, oh no, I don't want to sign with the
He
Knicks?
doesn't want that. He doesn't. Kawhi's a quiet guy. I just don't see him going to maybe to a big city.
What about the Clippers? A lot of people said last year when LeBron signed with the Lakers that Kawhi still wanted to be in LA, but he didn't want to play with LeBron. So the Clippers were into talks, but he got traded to Toronto. Are the Clippers still in your thoughts for Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, because they're still missing that superstar player. Not the Lakers, but the Clippers are definitely the front runners for the LA team.
I definitely think so. He's going to stay in Toronto, but there's that small percent that he leaves.
Yeah, if they offer him the right money,
it'll be the Clippers if anybody else besides Toronto.
Yep. Okay, now we welcome on our special guest, Reid Rausch. Reid, he's a 3-sport varsity athlete, and he's going to Dakota play baseball. Reid, this year for basketball, he led our team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. We finished with a 15-17 record. Pretty good.
Reid, what are your thoughts on the previous basketball season?
Well, before I answer that, I just want to take the time to say thanks. Thanks to you two for having me on the show.
Of course.
Anytime.
But my thoughts on this year were, I was hoping we're a little better than what I was expecting going into the year, but we kind of fell 1 game short. But we did get beat to Northland, and they did end up winning it all. And we were one of their closer games all season. I think we got beat by 12, and their average wins this year were 35. So we actually gave them a good game, and it was a single-digit game in the 4th quarter. So we had our chances, but in the end, they were just able to beat us there.
How were you able to take on the role of a starter this year after losing 4 senior starters last year, and how were you able to take on the scoring role and being a bigger part of the team this year?
Well, last year, yeah, we were really good last year. We had a lot of seniors last year. So coming into this season, we didn't really know. I didn't really know what my role was going to be exactly because my role is going to be a lot bigger this year than what it was last year. But I just had to keep confidence in myself and keep confidence in my teammates that they were going to be able to put me in the situations I needed to be in. So luckily that they were able to do that, so it worked out.
What were things this year you saw go good and go bad? What were, examples, just things?
Some good things were Luke Miller led the state in shooting percentage. He shot 100%, so that was a good thing. Some of the bad things were we had some bad losses in there. Like we lost to Durant. That was a really bad loss.
Can you talk about that Durant game a little bit? Like what went wrong that game?
Durant game, I don't think we played as a team much. We were good as a team and we were able to pass the ball around, get the open shots, and just in that Durant game, I think we were trying to force too much, and we turned the ball over a lot because we were forcing the ball around. So if we just take care of the ball and look for the best shot in every possession, I think we should have beat Durant by double digits at least.
Okay. So do you have a favorite game that you played this year, or one of our better ones?
My favorite game was probably when Comanche came to town because after they beat us the first game of the year, their coach said to the Clinton Herald, that game should have easily been a 20-point win for them. And then we played them about a month later. We were able to beat them on our home court by 4. So that game felt nice to win.
Yeah, the one big moment in that game was Michael Trum took a layup at the last seconds of the game to put you guys up by a lot more than what you would have been. That was a questionable play by Mike Trum. What do you think of that?
Would you have done the same?
I don't know if I would have done the same, but I'm fine with it in that situation because Comanche's been known. They were talking trash all game, and they're a cocky team. So even like their coach, it goes all the way on down. So for Michael to do that, I'm fine with it in that game. But like if we were playing a different opponent, then I wouldn't suggest Michael doing it then.
Okay, so we're gonna move on here to NCAA tournament. Right now, who's your pick to win?
Right now, my pick to win is Michigan State because they just knocked out the best. In my opinion, it was the best team in Duke. So if Michigan State can beat Duke, I think their defense and their coach. They coached by a really good person, Tom Izzo. I think they should be able to get it done.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said earlier, that Michigan State would win the championship this year.
So yeah, in my opinion, I had Duke going. Duke and UNC in the championship, but both teams, as we all know, are out. Okay, on to the NBA. Who do you have winning the NBA championship this year?
Right now, it has to be the Warriors. When you have 5 All-Stars from the year before in your starting lineup, it's tough to beat a team like that. And
definitely, the Warriors team with 5 All-Stars on it, they're almost unbeatable. I don't see anyone taking them down this year.
Especially when you have the best shooter in arguably history, and Stephen Curry. He can shoot it from anywhere, and that's just gonna be tough to beat for any other team in the NBA.
Kevin Durant, one of the best offensive threats in the game and league history, even just an unstoppable offensive threat.
I mean, in the playoffs too, everybody's gonna be hyped up. They're gonna go at it.
Okay, so throwing it back to Cascade High School, what are your thoughts on this upcoming season that you won't be playing in, and the upcoming juniors and seniors?
This next season, I don't know, it's gonna suck for me a little bit. I'll be having to watch from the crowd instead of actually playing on the court. But I don't know. The conference is gonna be really good next year. The next year's juniors are gonna have to step up a lot. They're gonna have to be ready to play right away because the conference is gonna be a grinder next year. But I think with Michael, Alex, and Carter all seeing good minutes this year, I think that's gonna help them next year with their experience. But like I said, the juniors and a couple of seniors for next year are really going to have to step up so they can have another successful season.
Okay. So for our final question here, do you have a favorite Coach Brindle moment of the year?
Not really of the year, but of my career is when my junior year, DJ Miller skipped a practice to go watch the state championship game in football. And when he came back, he said, "Oh yeah, it won't happen again, Coach." And Coach Brindle came back with a quick response. And he said, "Of course it won't, because it's not football season anymore." And I don't know. At the time, I thought it was funny. It was more of a you had to be there type of moment, but that was probably one of my favorite Coach Brindle moments right there.
All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have with Reid today. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. It's always fun talking to you too.
No problem. Hopefully you make an appearance again.
That's all we have for you today. Hope you guys all enjoyed.
Don't forget to tune into the next podcast.